doing in this weather, Ted? It is shocking. Shocking, I'll tell thee. Well, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you're watching from in the world. Ted Coningsby just braving the elements today in soggy conditions, battling through it, just getting on with it. Hey, you don't fight the elements, you go with it. I think that's my that's what we're going to do, I think. Ted's just going to quickly appear on the screens. Ted, you alright, mate? Goodness me. Welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel. My name's Nikos, I'm your cameraman, historian and commentator. This is our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby, and it's pretty grim out here, like the Grim Reapers, who are just taxiing now. You can hear their F-35s. Welcome to the home of the 48 Fighter Wing, the only wing with the name, the Statue of Liberty Wing, and the only US Air Force wing with a name, and of course a number. And that's all to do with them moving to Chaumont in 1952, where they were very close, about 25 miles away from the very workshop of Bartholdi, who, if you know who that is, designed and built the Statue of Liberty in the 1800s. So that's why they're called the Statue of Liberty Wing, and you'll see in French Statue de la Liberté in on their wing insignia. There was actually an official naming ceremony on the 4th of July 1954 when they got the name, and I can see F-35s taxiing now. We won't let the elements defeat us, we'll just join them. Ted, just go back in, mate. I know, bless you, a little bear, and oh dear, right, here I am, back in the elements again. Here we go. There is a bit of trouble there, look. Now, I didn't expect a early start. Well, I say early. I didn't expect an early-ish start like this. I think the weather is slowly trying to clear, but here we are in the thick of it. How we doing, ladies, gents and teddy bears? Welcome to a very, very emotional RAF Lakenheath. And you can just about see, if you can, there are actually F-35s down there. There are 4 combat-ready fighter squadrons here at RAF Lakenheath. In numerical order, the 492nd Fighter Squadron, the Mad Hatters, locally known as the Bowlers. They fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. Yeah, they fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. Oh yes. Next up, oh, you can just about see an F-35 just taxiing past there. And there we go. So yes, our first squadron, just like all the squadrons, they were activated on the 15th of January 1941, and that's with all the 4 squadrons. The 48th Fighter, the Bomb Squadron Light, as they were established first in 1941. All 4 squadrons came together as part of the 54 activations, 11 months prior to the attacks on Pearl Harbor. And it was a good move to prepare and train the latest and greatest of the United States Army Air Force's finest. So just like all 4 squadrons that were activated, all 4 squadrons actually began with different numbers, starting as the 55th Bomb Squadron Light. The following year they became the Bomb Squadron Dive, and then they became the 492nd Fighter Bomb Squadron. After that, that was in 1943. The Mad Hatters, the Bowlers, and they fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. In the same year, 1941, the 56 Bomb Squadron Light, they became the Bomb Squadron Dive the following year, and in 1943, they became the Grim Reapers, the 493rd Fighter Squadron. Today, they fly the F-35A. They're the latest squadron to operate the F-35A here at Lakenheath. That was in 2022. The Grim Reapers, they were once known as the Roosters between 56 and 1992. Their motto, one of 2 of the squadrons, are Mors Inimicis, which means death to the enemy. Their colours are black and gold. The Bowlers, by the way, 492nd, is blue. Next up, the 57th Bomb Squadron Light, activated in 1941, changed to Bomb Squadron Dive in 42, and then became the 494th Bomb Squadron and Fighter Bomb Squadron. They are the Panthers. Oh yes, the 494th operating the F-15E Strike Eagle, the finest, baddest, meanest, bleed red, if you can just about see anything down there. They fly the F-15E Strike Eagle. And last but not least, activated 15th of January of the 48th Bomb Group Light at the time, the 9th Reconnaissance Squadron, later became the 88th Bomb Squadron, and in 1943 completing the 4 fighter bomber squadrons, Mala Ibsanova, oh yes, bad news itself, and the legendary 495th Fighter Squadron, with very different nicknames through their career. They were known as the Thunderbucks between 77 and 1991, and became inactive for another 3 decades. They became the first unit of USAFE to operate the F-35A, 15th of December 2021. They arrived here at Lakenheath with a new nickname called the Valkyries, if you can see them. I don't know how I'm going to film this. Is this even possible? Can I even do that? Okay. Well, there's something down there. See that? I hope you've seen that. The state of this. Hope you're okay. I wasn't expecting them to go out. Well, actually, you never know, but I wasn't expecting them to start this early. But hey, like I said, of all the occasions we do military aviation, it is random. It's look at the state. Shout out to Warwick and Sean, by the way, who come from Clacton. Their first time, I believe. Big shout out to them. It was lovely chatting to them this morning and sadly waking them up with my dodgy radio. Has anyone got issues with their CarPlay? Because my Bluetooth on that has gotten off the scale. So my phone will go off in the house and it will start playing or receiving the phone call, and it will play out of my so someone calling me is speaking from my van and I'm actually in the house, keys off, all locked, CarPlay just still doing its thing, the volume doing its thing. No idea what's going on with that. Let me know if you've ever encountered some funny situations on your Apple CarPlay. So I do apologise to them. Oh, hello. Wasn't expecting you. Just let this vehicle go out of the way. Back. So this is the F-35A, the CTOL variant, the 9G pull-in, 18,000 pound payload carrying 43,000 pounds of thrust pushing hardcore 5th generation stealth fighter, designed to loiter as well. Max speed Mach 1.6. I think we've got a departure. Somewhere. I mean, look at these conditions. Here, but you know how it is. I'll just keep going. I don't know why, but can I hear F-16s? I can hear something. What's going on? What was that? I don't know what's going on here. I can hear something. Oh, it is an F-35. Sorry. I had that sort of high pitch sound there of an F-16 for a minute. But no, it's an F-35 joining this one. Well, don't forget to hit the like button. Give us a thumbs up, ladies, gents and teddy bears on this one. Your pre-startup checklist. Please hit that like. Give us some support here. Give us a thumbs up as well. Touch and go on that like button. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our last show of the month, actually. Of course, we will be posting regular videos. So you don't miss out on the latest and greatest live streams and videos. Don't forget to hit that notification bell button where you'll be notified of our latest and greatest live streams and videos. We do post regularly. Now, I'm hoping the predictions, I mean, the weather was all over the place for as far as forecast was concerned, but I was hoping it would sort of deplete around sort of 9, half 9, where I was thinking they'd be taking off after that. But hey, Guess I was wrong. More F-35s just taxiing across the runway. Welcome to the show, ladies, gents, teddy bears. Welcome to a real funny day today for me in this emotional weather. And welcome to the show, and welcome to RAF Lakenheath, ladies, gents, teddy bears. Again, just like Coningsby, completed in 1940, received its first unit, which was actually the first to use the runway in 1941, was actually a operational training unit that came all the way from RAF Lakenheath, operating and training the Wellington bombers and training the airmen and crew on the Wellington. And it was number 20 OTU, and quite so, because Lakenheath sits in the middle between RAF Mildenhall that was built in 1934, which received the Vickers Wellington in 1938, 99 bomber squadron opened in 34 but received the Wellingtons in 1938, and to my right, built in 36, operating in 37, and then the Harrows, and then finally the Vickers Wellingtons for RAF Feltwell. Again, these two sit about approximately 5 miles. I actually cannot see them down there, but here we go. That bit there, right, okay, let me just adjust that. Just bear with me a moment. Let me just get the old wiper blade on the old screen there now. It's a bit of a wet one today, as you can see or can't see. Oh man, but here we go. It's all good. Just keep positive, keep going, keep flowing, and all that. It's grim, isn't it? It's emotional, as we say on the channel. But don't forget, it is blue skies up there. That's the thing. It's not like that when you start going thousands of feet up. In fact, the cloud base in the morning when I got here, it was 700 feet. That was at the ceiling. That was it. So it's probably a bit less than that at the moment. So welcome, ladies, gents and teddy bears, to the show. Welcome to a very emotional RAF Lakenheath. And yeah, as I was saying, the station built in 1940, the vicinity actually had a decoy airfield to protect Mildenhall. Many of the stations around the country were protected by a, shall we say, a primitive method of deception in the forms of a decoy airfield, so a pretend airfield. So number 20 operational training unit, as I mentioned, we're here with the Vickers Wellington, and 149 squadron moved from RAF Mildenhall, moved to Lakenheath to operate there, where they eventually received their short Stirlings. And 149 also arrived later on. So the two squadrons, 149 and 199, operating short Stirlings, the Mark 1 and Mark 3 short Stirlings. And they were the only 2 squadrons, I believe, of the Royal Air Force that were stationed here. It was part of number 3 group of Bomber Command, and that took them right up to Lakenheath's closure. They were involved in many raids, many missions from Lakenheath, and Lakenheath is also a Victoria Cross base as well. So just like Marham and Sculthorpe, the station was selected to become a very heavy bomber base. It took nearly 2 years to complete when it closed in 1945. Finally completed in 1948. That's when the transition to the new hosts, and I've been here, the United States Air Force. Here we go. F-35s. You got to see them, man. The F-35s, sort of. Yeah. Well, hopefully it clears up, because I believe it's meant to, so that's something to literally hang on to with all we've got, because that would be quite nice. Yeah, welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel, ladies, gents and teddy bears, on a very, very soggy day. And yes, so 1948 was when the transition to the United States Air Force, which began with the 504th Base Completion Unit. They've seen many legendary aircraft, such as first of all, the B-29, first to operate here, with the 2nd Bomb Group, and the 307th as well that were here. Operating the B-47s, B-50s, the KB-97s, an array of legendary aircraft, until the arrival of the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing that arrived the same year as the Beatles were formed in 1960. And they arrived here with with their first ever supersonic aircraft, the F-100 Super Sabre. More, here we go. Just can't see much of it. Goodness me. There's more. Looks like an F-35 from here. Yes, the aircraft. ending, isn't it? It's good. Right, I don't think there's any more down there at the minute. I do have lots of tea today, so that's all good. Hear more F-35s, and the funny thing is, interestingly, that if one was to land, I probably wouldn't even be able to see it. Do you know, there was probably two that did land earlier. Those two that came down, no, actually no, don't know about that. Will I catch it on time? Sort of. It's really busy, isn't it? There, man. Oh my word. I couldn't even tell you if any of them came to land. I actually cannot see them down there. I actually thought there was none left. I can still hear more F-35s spooling, so get ready for more. Where they are, couldn't tell you. They're somewhere down there. Oh dear. Right, cup of tea. Oh, at least I got tea. Tea is good. Tea makes everything better. Hopefully. But it is, as far as the forecast is concerned, it is meant to clear up a little bit. It's not exactly going to be Bahamas today, but it should be dry. Hey, there's the, there you go, we've got the tornado sweeper there, doing their thing. Well, for those that always wished I was on a carrier, well, we're getting the sea spray effect here at Lakenheath. So certainly, but everyone's got a mate that wears shorts in all weathers, though. Everyone's got a mate. So people looking at me now, going, "Yep." Oh dear. So if big shout to all those that wear shorts. 365. But you know, if it was a clear day today, it would have been an exceptional quick climb day today, wouldn't it? But hey, they've got to do what they've got to do. Now this is the day that you don't want quick climbs, because they would literally just disappear in seconds. So there we go. So yes, 1960 is when the 48th arrived, and they were known as the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing, and it was the 3 squadrons. Why the 3 squadrons? So for those that don't know, let's rewind. The 48th began as a group in 1941, 15th of January 1941. They were the 48th Bomb Group Light, then they became the 48th Bomb Group Dive. So in brackets, when you see a letter, H for heavy, M for medium, L for light, D for dive. Yes, they had very different roles, and they had 4 original squadrons: 55, the 56, 57, and the 9th. The 9th became the 88th. So now the 9th were actually a reconnaissance squadron, and I wonder if it's why they have 9 stars on their insignia. On some of their insignias that you'll see 9 stars. Could be the reason, could be not. But then they became the 88th Bomb Squadron Dive or Light, depending on when they entered and changed. But then they became the numbers in 1943. The 55th became the 492nd, the 56th became the 493rd, and the 57th became the 494th, and the 88th became the 495th. So 4 squadrons, and that was in 1943. So they had the 4 squadrons right up to then, until 1944 in March, when the 495th moved to a different group. Reasons being, from what I could gather, is that the structure of the United States Army Air Force's fighter groups were to have 3 fighter squadrons per group. This is what I could establish. This is my very own research, my very own theory. Now, the 495th moved to a training bomb group, the 407th fighter bomb group, okay? So they were with them, and that left the 3 squadrons. The thing is, in 1944, so for the 407th Bomb Group, they became inactive, and that was the end, for now, of the 495th. They were with them, and they became inactive, whereas the 48th Fighter Bomber Group, they changed to 48 Fighter Group in 1944, moved to RAF Ibbsley, became part of the 70th Fighter Wing, and they were allocated to the 9th Air Force. So the 9th Air Force, what did they do? We've all heard of the 98th. The 9th Air Force took care of the Army side of things, close air support. So when they were supporting the troops of the Army, I also mean carrying them with C-47s, so places like RAF North Witham, Falkingham, places like that, okay? So they would assist in troops, but also if you have the likes of the P-47 Thunderbolt, which is what the 48th were were operating with. Yes, that's right, the 48th started off at Ibbsley, and after D-Day, which the 48th took part in with their 3 squadrons, they took part in about 2,000 sorties of the 14,000, so they played a major part, supported in close air support, destroying gun positions, taking out tanks, trains, locomotives, you name it, anything on the ground, it was gone. Tanks, the lot. That was the role of the 9th Air Force, and especially the role of the 48th with their 3 squadrons. They set sail in some set sail in 1943 to 44, set sail, but only the 3 squadrons, like I mentioned, the 495th, they went with another group. So what happened? Well, after the Second World War, November the 7th, 1945, the 48th became inactive. We didn't see them now until another 7 years, where things started to heat up, known as the Cold War, or shall I say things started to go cold, very cold. And it was the Cold War. We had Strategic Air Command, that kind of thing. Now, the 48th, as you know, I haven't mentioned them as a wing. They didn't become a wing until 1952, and they moved back to France. The 48th spent a lot of time in France, especially during the Second World War and the Normandy campaigns. Once the Allies started to gain ground, they were taken over the airfields back again. They even ended up in Cambrai, Saint-Lô, and then Belgium as well as St. Trond, using their 10,000-foot amazing runway, which the pilots absolutely loved. Now, 1952, they moved to Chaumont. That's where the 48th got their wing status. That's where they became a wing. So if you're looking for history, Second World War of the 48th Fighter Wing, as a wing they were not, as a group they were. So now 52, a wing, and they got their name in 1954 officially, 4th of July, a great day, there you go. But only with, again, the 3 squadrons, 492nd, 493rd and the 494th. We didn't see the 495th until 1977, so they were inactive for about 33 years. Wow. Anyway, 1956, the group the wing had another name change, trying to remember all the groups and wings and squadrons and allocations and tactics, etc. In 1956 they became the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing, which means the squadrons became Tactical Fighter Squadrons. So 492nd, 493rd and 494th Tactical Fighter Squadrons. Why is this? This is because they play a very different role. Each title suggests to you of what they do. It may sound simple, but if you think about it, a bomb group literally had bombers. A fighter group had fighters. Tactical was more a strategical, tactical operations, whereas there were interceptor squadrons as well. You know, and also training squadrons, etc. So the title will give away kind of what they do. They kept that tactical fighter wing all the way right up until the retirement of the F-111 aardvarks, which we'll talk to you about in just a moment. So they were in France, they were in Chaumont, and that's where they got their name from, because the Statue of Liberty wing workshop did mention that. And then the only wing, not only with a number but also with a name, again, for those who don't know, 25 miles away from their base at Chaumont, the Chaumont-Samontier region, about 25 miles out of Paris, perhaps south of Paris, that kind of thing. It is clearing up, by the way. So yes, that's how they got their name, because the workshop of Bartholdi, who built the Statue of Liberty, So on their original insignia you will see in French Statue de la Liberté, and that is why they're called the Statue of Liberty wing, not because they are from the US, otherwise every single wing would be called that, but that's why. Okay, so tactical fighter wing, they had 3 different aircraft when they came to Chaumont. They started off with the F-84, the Thunderjet. Then they switched to the F-86, and then finally, by the way, the F-84 was the 48th's first ever jet aircraft. Okay, so a little geeky little fact there. And then the F-86, and then finally the F-100, the Super Sabre, their first ever aircraft that was supersonic, and it also had a bit of afterburning. Oh yes. So they came to Lakenheath with that here. They came here with that. Okay, so they came here in 1960. In fact, I think it was the 15th of January they came here. So there you go, they came here. But just the 3 squadrons, they had a very different letter tail marking system. They had a letter L for Lakenheath, and then a second letter to denominate the squadrons. LR was the 492nd, LS was the 493rd, and LT was the 494th. They went to the colours that we know today, so blue for the 492nd, yellow for the 493rd, actually yellow and black traditionally now, and red for the 494th. Okay, now they didn't have those colours in the Second World War. They actually swapped them over. The Grim Reapers were blue Panthers yellow and the Mad Hatters red, by the way. Get that in there. That was a bit different. But they switched to the colours that we know today. After the F-100D Super Sabre from 1906, at Lakenheath that is, so from 1956 when they got them, they switched aircraft in 1972, just for a 5-year period. It was indeed the McDonnell Douglas Phantom F4s. They were ex-Vietnam ones as well, for those that are interested. Now, after that, 1977, that's where we welcome not only a new aircraft, the F-111 Aardvark, but also the reactivation of the 495th. They got a new nickname called the Thundervarks. The 495th's colour was green. They weren't the Valkyries then. In fact, the Valkyries was actually chosen by members of the public in a way, and I'll explain in just a moment. So they operated the F-111 Aardvark and took part in many raids and missions, such as the El Dorado Canyon, also the Gulf War as well. They used that and were involved again, like I said, in the El Dorado Canyon in '86 and Gulf War '91. After that, it was time to change role. After everything they've learned as a tactical fighter wing, it was time to change that. In fact, the F-111 was being retired, and the 48th dropped the title tactical and became the 48th Fighter Wing. That was in 1991. Now the 495th once again became inactive, and in 1992 we started to see the Eagles return. So 1992, the 492nd and the 494th were operating the F-15E Strike Eagle, which is what's here. The 493rd started to receive their F-15Cs, a single-seater Eagle, and that was in 1994, and eventually through the course started to receive the two-seater F-15Ds. Okay, there you go, just the 3 squadrons though. And then finally, a very historic moment. Now, the 495th were reactivated 30 years later, okay, from 1991, so 2021, 15th of December. Now, they were going to be reactivated with they stood up again with the F-35A. Now, they didn't have a nickname. They couldn't be called the Thundervarks because Thundervarks was really related to the Aardvark. So they put out a suggestion out to the members of the public. Do you have a nickname for them? Lots of nice nicknames, such as the Archangels, the Ravens, the Daggers, and the one that they chose out of all the 700 applicants, or different names, was indeed the Valkyries. Now, there was a strong connection, I guess, here, because this is an area of Anglo-Saxons. So, from that kind of region, the Norse gods, etc., I think that's quite fitting. And there was indeed the other story, the Lakenheath warrior. Sounds very Nordic gods, so they chose the Valkyries. That was the winner. And I like that because here, excavated in 1997, they found remains of what potentially was a warrior from the Anglo-Saxon period. A man, male, 5'10", buried with his horse, buried with his shield, sword, weapons, even a jewellery. And you don't get that burial unless you're someone like a general, some leader, and that's the way it was back then. So they named him the Lakenheath warrior. If you want to see the Lakenheath warrior, he is as he was, but at the Mildenhall Museum. Now, when I say Mildenhall Museum, it's not on the base, it's actually open to the members of the public in the town, so do check it out. A year later, in 2022, the second F-35A squadron was here. The 493rd switched from their F-15C and Ds, retired them, and switched in 2022 to the F-35A, making 2 squadrons operating the F-35A. And the rain has just started to stop, finally. Give that a little wipe. Now then, I can actually see down the bottom of the runway now. Wow, we can. Oh, there you go. Look, we can see eagles. There we go. Lovely. Right, just take this off quickly. We just bit of TLC to the camera there. Welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel. My name's Nikos. I'm your cameraman, well, very wet cameraman, historian and commentator of the Ted Coningsby channel. Welcome to the show. Hope you're all well and dry wherever you're watching from in the world. It's been a bit of a funny one this year, isn't it, really, weather-wise? But hey, we're here. We're still going. Oh my word. I haven't got any of the models with me due to the weather. I thought it wouldn't be worth it. Probably couldn't see them. But welcome to the show. And I hope you're all well and health-wise. Hope you're all good. And I think I'm just going to go and let me just... I haven't even done any of my checks, really. But it was that bad. I didn't even think they were going to go ahead that early, but they did. It was quite spectacular, really, that they got started up quite early. There's another aircraft there, an F-35, making its way probably for a departure. Oh, yeah, I'd say that was taking off. Let's go. And the weather has just got worse again, just like that. Terrible, isn't it? Hey, the main thing is we're here, we're still going, so all is good. So very warm welcome to Dieter LEJ approach, Mayhem Marshy, Margot Baxter, Williams, Charlie Bravo, RSVP, Reese Maroney, how you doing? Batter Purple, Argan, Alan Burden, and Andrew Dickey, how you doing as well? Henk Verhule, how you doing? Welcome to the show, Mike Weaver. Vaina, JP Mac, Captain A. Good, how you doing, man? Watching from Germany. Arjen from Netherlands. Here we go. That one just landed. Yep, there you go. I couldn't even say if one was coming into land because it is that bad out here. Oh my word, you can't actually see if they're landing today, man. Well, I can't anyway, I can't see them from there. Goodness me. That's quite comical. Giving us all angles of the F-35 there. Sorry, one sec. There we go, that's better. So, amazing engineering, the wonderful F-35A. The most powerful jet engine in a single jet engine fighter configuration in the world currently, with 43,000 pounds of thrust. This is the Pratt & Whitney's F-135 PW100 engine, and it is absolutely incredible. So only now can I see that they've just landed, so it's going to be one of those. Oh, I might be able to see one. There we go. but there's still two F-15s parked up at the EOR, the end of runway 405, although I couldn't see them from here, but well, now I can't, but there's definitely two there. So the US Air Force don't operate the F-35B, but you can see the F-35B here in England at RAF Marham, where the Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force operate the F-35B, the Stovall variant, short takeoff and vertical landing, operated by 617 Dambusters, the Operational Conversion Unit 207 Squadron, and the Royal Navy's Immortals, the 809 Squadron, the Naval Air Squadron. Sure that there's everything's all safe and dry on the camera there. Sorry if it goes out of focus a little bit. Just make sure I get all that moisture off the equipment there. It should be all good. There we go. See if we've got anything else down there. Yep, there's still yeah, there's one F-35 down there at the minute. There we go. Been busy. It's a shame about the weather, otherwise it would have been.
It's a shame because now you get a bit of visibility now. It's clearing a bit.
Always the way, man. Always the way. Never mind. So just the one F-15 all the way down there, all on its own for now.
Is that quite strange, just one down there? They usually went out.
Sometimes you get the odd one, sometimes, but it's been there a while, so maybe it's just waiting for its mate. bit better here now. Yep, absolutely. Paul M. Hennings, how you doing? Not Captain Weber, LED approach. Aspen, what up? How you doing, man? What up, Aspen? What up, man? Thanks a lot to all of you who are joining us. 1.2k watching, thank you very much on this quite emotional day, really. It's a bit soggy in Suffolk at the moment. Welcome to the show. So if you've got any questions about the aircraft, feel free. I'll do my best. In fact, give me a moment. I'm just going to go and get some of my diagrams. As soon as it starts to get a bit drier, I can give you some of the facts and figures that you love. Oh, thank you. Luckily I've left it in that direction. That's cool. Thank you, Dave. That's awesome. Well, that's quite fun how I've left it right there where they touched down. That's good. So I learnt that trick from Ted using the Ted cam. How we doing, ladies, gents, teddy bears? So yes, as you know, I like to research all the history, especially here, the legacy and the lineage of the 48th, and I've had a bit of a change of mind, and I'll explain in just a moment with some of the research I've been doing. And many of you may notice some of the original emblems. Now, as I mentioned earlier about the aviation objective, the first ever activations for the United States Army Air Corps. Now, this is the thing. You see, the United States were neutral during the time. However, they did kind of get the gist that war was potentially imminent. They already took part in a First World War. Now, during that time, ladies, gents, and teddy bears, to let you know, in January of 1941, so, right at the beginning of the year, and we all know what happened at the end of the year, 7th of December of 1941, the attacks on Pearl Harbor. But that said, the 54 initial activations of units and groups were as follows: the 54 first aviation objectives, and these aviation objectives were put in place to be prepared, because there's no point waiting until the worst should happen. That's the whole point of military tactics, is to reorganize, organize, and get yourself structured together. Now, looking back at the history, the 48th began as a bomb group light. Now, I had a look at the first emblems. When they became newly activated, I found these. I found original insignias for the 55th Bomb Squadron. Now, you probably will all jump and go, yes, that's the Mad Hatters, the 492nd. Correct. But what I'm telling you here is that the 55th Bomb Squadron, when they formed in 1941, which then 2 years later became the 492nd, that was their, of course it wasn't in black and white like I've done here, but you all know they still use this today. Amazing. The 56, who became the 493rd. Look at this. They've been using that since 1941. Over here, 57th Bomb Squadron. Look at that. So my guess is that they were called the Panthers even back then as the 57th. Now, for the 9th, who became the 88th, who then became the 495th. Right, I originally thought it could have been an aardvark, but it's so pixelated, the image, I can't actually figure out. It could be an eagle, definitely holding some sort of bomb. All right, that makes sense. I thought it was wearing a helmet, but it isn't. Now, thanks to Mayhem Marshy, who's a Spannerfly, he had a look at where some of these, I mean, it's only a guess. We think it could be potentially an alligator, because of where they were, like Tennessee, Mississippi, and Georgia. Forgive me if those places don't have alligators or crocodiles, whichever, but it could be. It's either, my guess is now it's not an aardvark, so I'm going to scrap that. It looks like part of the arm. Here we go. Is that takeoff, or is that another landing, perhaps? So there we go. I'm just giving you my best input as much as I can. The 495th is the only one I can't track properly. If you ever see the 48th bomb group, you'll know the HQ has their 4 insignias, and I can't make out what the 494th is. It's so pixelated. Sorry, the 495th. It's so pixelated, I can't actually make that out, unfortunately. I could only go with guesswork. But what I have found, when they were the 9th Reconnaissance Squadron, it looked like a flying tiger on some sort of missile with a camera, which makes sense being a reconnaissance, but I'm doing my best to track it down. And it's so pixelated, I can't actually work it out what it is. So maybe I might need to speak to, oh, look at that, 48th. 48th OSS. Wow, I've not seen that one before. I have not seen 48th OSS, but there we go. That's a new one for me. So yeah, this is what I've got to deal with to try to guess. By the way, just really quickly, if I just show you it, maybe you can help. This is the image I've got to work with. It's really pixelated. Now, if you could see here, it could be feathers here. You know what's going on. You can see why I thought it was an aardvark, but that's what I've got to deal with. It's really pixelated, and the reasons why, you know, it's just the reasons why I'm not going to just jump at an aardvark is because I've seen the others, which I know what they look like, but they just look nothing like it, so pixelated. But there we go, more arriving. We've got one F-35 to the left holding on the EOR. Oh, and our F-15 has gone. See, the weather's that bad, they just disappear. And maybe it had an issue and went back. Anyway. But yeah, I really do think it's some sort of bird on there, but hey, that's just guess. So that was nice to have the markings of the 48th OSS, the Operations Support Squadron. They do include RAPCON. So for those that don't know, in Lakenheath Tower we have RAPCON, that's Radar Approach Control, and they are part of the 48th Operations Support Squadron. Now, I've not seen those markings actually on any aircraft here. It's actually quite nice to have that those markings, you know, to highlight them, because they play a major part. Radar Approach Control is Lakenheath Tower, which manage both Lakenheath and Mildenhall airspace as well. And the 48th Operations Support Squadron, Eagles as they're called Eagles, train and equip the warfighters to enable agile combat air power in support of the 48th Fighter Wing USAFE. Now, the combatant commands, they also support them, the Allied forces, and the 48th OSS includes flight and airfield management for the RAPCON, air traffic control, weather, intelligence, weapons and tactics, wing scheduling as well, training, life support, and operational plans, including the group administration as well. So the 48th OSS is a massive compartment for those. So if you didn't know what they do, they cover all that, as well as RAPCON as well. So we do have one F-35A. It looks like it's on the move. Hang on, let's have a look. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, I found my Strike Eagle. So, so we've got an F-15 and an F-35 down there. And they are departing. Here we go. Let's ride. That is, so Leah's just asked a question. So this is obviously a Panthers jet, quite rightly so, a 494th. And no, it doesn't mean that it is a 494th pilot flying it. They will use whatever jet is available, although standard they will use their own jets. But if there's been some troubleshooting and they can't rectify it, if another jet is available, they will use another marked jet. It really doesn't matter. Same as Coningsby as well, where you'll get a 12 squadron aircraft, you know, marked aircraft used by various squadrons. All right, so they go in what's called a pool when you've got lots of squadrons about. where an aircraft will carry that. That's been since, I remember the Vulcan had pools. You may notice that if you go to heritage centres, museums, you know, the aviation museums that have Vulcans, you may see on the hatch, on the door where the crew would go in, you may see various squadron markings on there. So a particular aircraft may be going, even though it will have a particular squadron marking on the tail, it would go in what's called a pool, which they still do today, especially in the RAF. But yes, it doesn't mean necessarily that it is the same squadron pilot flying the same squadron jet, if that makes sense. Hey man, how are you? All right? Good. So here we are, the ground crew doing their post-sortie checks on the EOR end of runway. There are 4 EORs to this end. So basically 2 for 2.5, 2.3, sorry, we're at Lakenheath, and 2 at 0.5. So they'll do all their checks. Well, you get to see that over this end. So this is made up of the 48th maintenance, which are part of the fighter generation squadrons. So each squadron will have their own maintenance squadron, so to speak. So if these are the 494th, then there'll be the 494th fighter generation squadron, which includes the armourers, technicians, engineers, mechanics, that kind of thing. Crew chief, of course. Here comes some more emotional rain coming now. Goodness me, we're not being left alone today, are we? Let's see if I can get you a landing quickly. They'll come out in all weather. So big shout out to the ground crew, a testament to decades of heritage. You know, every time we go to air shows, that's got to be a lot of stress for them, you know, making sure that the display pilots have their aircraft to wow the tens of thousands of spectators at each air show, let alone a total tally for the whole year, especially places like Riyadh, but in the likes of combat and integral combat turn, what goes in to keeping these serviceable, airworthy, ready for the next mission is beyond. The stories that you hear of all these aircraft bombers coming back with battle damage, the ground crew will be repairing them. Landing as well. Thank you very much for all the support. Tones Planes, how you doing? Hope you're good, man. Anthony Boulder, how you doing? Hope you're good. Sharon Chapman Williams, thank you very much for joining us today. So the F-35's taxiing down the catwalk, as you can see. Catwalk is a Ted Coningsby term. It is just officially called a taxiway. Catch another landing, why not? You can really see the aerodynamic braking. Look at this, it's still going. Beautiful. So that's called aero braking, literally using that whole surface area, the undercarriage, as a massive parachute or a drag to slow the aircraft down, taking the pressure off the nose landing gear and the braking systems. That was pretty mega. Underneath the pods there. So on the aircraft's left, that's the sniper targeting pod. The Whizzer will be using that. The weapons systems operator in the back. locking onto targets for laser guided bombs. And on the right is what's called the Lantern Pod, which is a navigational aid for, goodness me, here comes the rain, hang on a minute. One sec. Well, that's coming down quite hard now. Hang on. Sorry, where was I? The Lantern, the low altitude navigation and targeting infrared for night. So that literally is a terrain following system. For nighttime, so in mountainous areas, getting you through places like low-level areas and mountainous areas like Makloop, and actually even on the battlefield through the mountainous areas, can track the contours at night, almost having like VR high definition, ultra high definition feed to the aircraft's heads-up display, so that the pilot can navigate through the cover of darkness as well, and to target as well, and navigate through literally in complete darkness. And those are featured on the F-15E. Dzień dobry, Jarosław. How you doing? Hope you're good. Warm welcome to our Polish viewers as well. Jarosław Kubec, how you doing as well? Hope you're good, man. Derek, how you doing? Steve McWales. We're just hanging in there in this really bitterly cold day, and a wet one as well. But I'll do my best to hang in there. I don't know what's still out there, what's not. But ultimately, glad I came today just to finish off the week. It's always nice. It's not going to be a full show today, just a quick stop off and just get you some USAFE jet action. So the 48th Fighter Wing is part of the 3rd Air Force. Now that's the HQ for the United States Air Force in Europe, pronounced USAFE, and that also includes the United States Air Forces in Africa as well. Now, as far as the United States Air Force is concerned, it is actually for them, it does predate the Second World War, because of course Britain started that in 1930, started their involvement in 1939, but their role over 80 years, its directives, their HQ out in Germany at Ramstein Air Base. They have what's called the 3Ds, develop, defend and deliver. So for those who don't know, let's exploit that. So the actions are develop, so they develop the group, and as individuals they'll focus on confronting any global challenge in support of the NDS National Defence Strategy to defend the second D of their country and allies, and then they'll dedicate their efforts where they will deliver the third D for peace to the nation and allies. Now they have 10 units, the 31st Fighter Wing, the Aviano's F-16s, the 406th Air Expeditionary Wing, Lakenheath's 48th Fighter Wing, the 435th Air Ground Operations Wing, the 86th Airlift Wing, also got the 39th Air Base Wing, the 100th Air Refuelling Wing at RAF Mildenhall, the 52nd Fighter Wing, the 501st Combat Support Wing at Fairford, and the Heavy Airlift Wing at Hungary's Papa Air Force Base. Oh, goodness me, it is, it's not that enjoyable today, but hey, it's fun, if that makes sense. The surroundings and the joy that aircraft bring just keeps us going, and and I'm not alone, I'm with you, and that's what makes it special. It's like we're all together. I think there might actually be a takeoff. Yep. In this is going to be fun. What a weather we've got here, what weather, goodness me. Well, I'll see about thinking about packing up, as it's really, really emotional. But we've had some fun, we've had good fun today.
Very big fan of yours here.
Oh, you're right.
Could you ever put them? Could you ever put them?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
As long as you don't mind.
right. Yeah. Alright, thank you very much. No problem at all. Keep dry, won't you?
Yeah.
Oh, bless. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, I'm probably going to call it a day after this second. It's really bad.
Okay, then thanks very much.
Thank you. That is awful, man. It is really, really, really bad at the moment. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to just call it a day, I think, at this rate. It's not great. But hey, we've done all right though. It's been good fun. Been good fun. See if this clears like it's meant to. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. How we doing, ladies, gents, teddy bears? Hope we're all good. Goodness me, you can see how, probably hear the rain clicking away. Beautiful. How you doing, man? Happy New Year. I haven't seen you, I don't think. I am absolutely wet, soaking and everything else.
It's not too bad.
You hitched yourself, are you alright?
Yeah, not too bad yourself.
Yeah, good. What was it?
That's how you are, but you don't like the smell of the smoke.
That's right. It's been busy, really.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? Okay. Oh, okay, they didn't come at all. Okay.
Yeah, worth it.
What, this one?
Yeah, it's got, should have got one lock at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's got locked on each rung.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
All right. great question there. Does LN stand for Lakenheath? And yes, it does. And it wasn't always like that. As I mentioned, when they arrived here, in fact, I'd like to know what the markings were prior to between 1948. That would be interesting. Between 1948 and 1960. Now, I have a funny feeling that the bomb wings, the bombardment wings that were here with the B-29s and B-47s, I got a funny feeling they were on like a what's called a rotational deployment. So I don't think they actually established a Lakenheath tailcode. Now that is just a pure analysis and a guess, okay, for now, until I have a little bit of a research. A very good question, actually. It's made me thought of that, because in 1960, when the 48th Tactical Fighter Wing arrived here, they brought their own tail code system. So they had the letter L for Lakenheath, then followed by their squadron letter. So it was R, S and T. So LR was the 492nd, LS the 493rd, and LT the 494th. And you can see an example of that at the Newark Air Museum, an F-100D Super Sabre in the early camo. When they arrived here, they switched in the late 60s to the natural bare metal. But they received in 1972 the F4 Phantom, and they changed that two-digit system, as in with the squadron, they changed it to LK for Lakenheath. Now it was only for 1972 and into 1973, so not really 12 months. That's when they changed it to LN. Now, why a tail code? Well, we have to go back in history, really. Now, you've got to remember that during the Second World War, especially from 1939 for the Royal Air Force is concerned, prior to that, the marking system was quite basic. And what I mean by that is that the Harrows, the Wellingtons, they would have the actual squadron number written on the side of the fuselage. So let me just zoom out for a moment. Sorry about this. Give me 1 second. So what does that mean? Well, if we take 199 Squadron here, this is the Sterling that was this served, 199 Squadron served with the short Sterling bomber. For those that don't know, this was the first ever 4-engine monoplane bomber, heavy bomber of the Royal Air Force. This came out in July of 1940. Number 7 Squadron at RAF Leeming. How cool is that, eh? Look at it, beautiful. Now, and bear in mind, number 7 Squadron, they fly the Chinook now. So what I'm saying is that 199 Squadron, for example, or even 149 or even 115, they actually had 115 if you were 115. If you were 199, they would write 199 written on there as a squadron identity. There is a bit of a problem with that. So reconnaissance aircraft and scouts and observers of the enemy would come and find who you are, because you know that they would know that you've got 199 written on there. You find out where they land, you know what squadron operates what. That posed a bit of a problem. The Royal Air Force didn't really have a tail marking system to denominate their wings and groups, etc., because it was a different organisation. So what they did, they got rid of the numbers, because they thought that is a bit of a security issue, because writing your squadron number, you can find out what you have, where you operate from. So they come up with the random 2-digit system. Now, the United States Army Air Forces still used that as well when they arrived. Now, they found that getting into formation, now don't forget, they were relatively a small Air Force very, very small in comparison, especially to the Royal Air Force at the time. They were already engaged into combat. They had a lot more aircraft, and especially the mighty Luftwaffe during the Second World War had thousands and thousands of aircraft. So they found that having a tail marking system would be quite useful, especially getting into formation with other bomb groups, which is why they felt that having a denomination so that you can get into formation with your fellow bomb groups can get you a nice, tighter and reliable formation, as well as in the battlefield you can identify. Now I'm going to show you really quickly, if I may, just give me a second. I'll show you some of the history that I've put together for you. So the United States Army Air Force actually found that really useful to apply. Now, the mighty 8th Air Force, we're going to focus on the 8th Air Force. They did things a little bit differently. So don't forget, you've got an Air Force, then you've got a division, a wing, and then below the wing, you split them into a group and then a squadron. And this is what they come up with, okay? Geometric shapes. Now, in the mighty 8th Air Force, they had 3 divisions. So once you got your divisions, then you split them into wings, and each wing had a group. The shapes told you what division you were in. The 1st division was a triangle, the 2nd Air Division was a circle, mainly the B-24 Liberators. The 3rd Air Division was a square. Now, you know the 100th Bomb Group, 100th Air Refueling Wing, which is now today, you know that they were part of the 3rd Air Division because it's a square. Makes sense? There you go. And then what they did for security, they would actually have, this is just an example, letters inside to denominate the bomb group. Okay, so it did kind of go numerical. I've been asked this, what's with the random numbers? Well, the thing is, the Royal Flying Corps, when they started, did actually go numerical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You look at 91, 92, 93, 94. But the thing is, there were so many training groups that were put together. Now, there were so many. Some didn't work out. Some changed. Some were redesignated. Don't forget, this was quite new. Right now, it's a lot more stable. Everything is pretty much stable. Now, each division had allocated a fighter wing. So when you think of all the fighter group airfields like Bottisham, etc., and Boxted, things like that, they didn't just randomly take off and escort them and help them out. They had a structure. So the 67th Fighter Wing, with their groups, they looked after the 1st Air Division, which was the triangle. So those at Kimbolton, for example, the 379th Bomb Group, were looked after by the 67th Fighter Wing, which had the 20th, the 352nd, 356th, etc. So Mildenhall's Square D, the 100th Bomb Group, which were actually at Thorpe Abbott, Station 139, they were looked after by the 66th Fighter Wing. The 48th, they were part of the 9th Air Force, and they were part of the 70th Fighter Wing. Okay, so that's like a breakdown. I'm going to show you a little bit more for those interested in the 2nd Air Division. There you go. This is, again, you'd have that displayed on your tail, and they kept that. They you know, and this is the 65th Fighter Wing. That's their fighter groups. There's a little bit of a takeaway for you, if you like. I've got the other thing I didn't mention just now, I think, is that a takeoff? Is that going to be in a takeoff? Oh no, it's fine. The other thing, they did have squadron letters. EP, the 351st Bomb Squadron, which wasn't part of that one, but never mind. It's just an example. So they did adopt it. Now that 3rd letter is actually the flight letter. All right, so you had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so you know what aircraft, and then specific to the aircraft, you also had the serial number as well. All right, so I hope that made sense. That's the rest of the 3rd Air Division. It's a bit of a That's the 3rd Air Division, a little takeaway for you. So there's the EP, so the 351st, which are still flying today as the 351st Air Refueling Wing. So you had the 349th, 350th, 351st, and the 418th. Completely random jump there. I wonder what happened to the 352nd, but maybe they were a training squadron, or maybe they were a fighter group, a fighter squadron, sorry, and changed. Do you see what I mean? It does all change, and it's and again, even the legacy, as we spoke about the birthday of the insignia, the star, the national star. If you have a look at the whole history of the markings for the United States Army Air Corps, their first ever in 1916 flying aircraft in the First World War. Now it may look like a Soviet Union style or China or whatever, but they did actually have a red star. That was the first, okay, 19th of March 1916. If you look at the Curtiss, they used to call them Jennies, JN3. They had stars. If you look at the first Aero Squadron, and that was until 1917. It was the first national insignia. Interestingly, the the United States Navy. I didn't put it in, but they had like an anchor, and yeah, it was like an anchor, blue anchor. And then after that, on the 17th of May 1917, they adopted the circle, the blue circle with the red meatball inside a pentagon, and that lasted until February 1918. A blue circle added to the white star, a large meatball, and it's almost sort of, you know, connected to each corner, each edge there. Now you may think this is the same, these two here. They're not. It was done proportionately, and that meatball is not touching. You'll have a look, it's slightly smaller, and I'll explain in a moment. 8th of February 1918 to the 19th of August 1919, to avoid confusion with the German cross, because let's face it, look at the markings during the First World War, and it looked like a battle between the noughts and crosses. You'll see that on the Newport 28, the 95th Aero Squadron, who are today flying at Mildenhall on their various selections from 55th Offutt Air Force Base, the 55th Wing. They are descendants. The 95th Aero Squadron, the 95th Reconnaissance Squadron are still going today. And they even had like the donkey on there as their emblem. Anyway, just moving on. So the 26th of Feb 1941. Don't forget, this is very close for the United States entering the Sorry, my bad. I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. 19th of August 1919 is when they adopted this system. They did away with the red circle, okay? That lasted until the 15th of May 1942. The meatball was smaller. Why? They made it 1/3 of the blue circle. Colours specified were insignia blue, insignia red for that. Now, I'm going to show you an example. On the 26th of Feb 1941, the one roundel on the top left and one roundel on the bottom right was adopted. The United States Army Air Forces did away, and the Army Air Corps and the United States military decided to do away with having two roundels. And I'm going to show you a really good example why they felt they should do that. Now, when the United States were neutral, so between 1939 to 1941, literally up to the 7th of December 1941, when they were flying, they didn't want military roundels if they were flying into Europe, so they literally just had a flag. Now, I've added the Civil Air Patrol because they were quite, you know, they were involved in the Second World War, and the 1st of December 1941 they actually got rid of they omitted that propeller, that red propeller. In fact, if you look at the Civil Air Patrol, which are still in existence today and a really important component to the military of the United States, they have this in their insignia. It's absolutely amazing. And then on the 15th of May 1942 they did away with the meatball totally. Okay, they totally did away with that. Probably for circle probably meant obviously Japan. They removed it. Now, just like the Royal Air Force used that outer yellow circle, They only used this yellow circle. So if you ever see this, it's for Operation Torch, October 1942 to 1943, inspired by the Royal Air Force's yellow. It varied in thickness, and it was emitted from the top of the wings, and it was used for the North African theatre of operation, Allied invasion of French North Africa. It was for, so this is called the Torch Yellow, and it was only specific to that. Then the United States military and the Army Air Corps decided that, hey, you know, visibility is a lot more important than colour itself, but to expose more visibility they added a bar. Okay, that's what the influence, and that was from the 28th of June 1943. They did have a red outer lining on it. That was until August the 14th, 1943. Bars were added for visibility, and on the 14th of August 1943 they did away with the red and had it as a thick blue bar, and that was until January the 14th, 1947. Red was removed completely. The United States Navy, if you have a look, it was a lighter blue on the outer edges. Okay, so that's another little takeaway. And then the birth of the national star insignia that we see today right here, 14th of January 1947 until now, and it was 9 months literally before the official US Air Force. Now here's a thing, we always talk about the F-15 Eagle. Started off life in 1972, and then the first flight of the family version, the F-15B, in 1973. The F-15s in those early stages of 1970s, they emitted the blue bar. Have a look at old school A and B Eagles. You will see no blue bar around it. You'll have a white bar with a red through it. They literally emitted the outer lining of the blue. But hey, that's a little bit of oh, sorry, I didn't realise that was on there. So there you go. That's the United States Air Force star insignia done in a nutshell for you. What I wanted to explain to you is about the roundels, why they did away with that, and that was in 1941. I'm going to show you a really good example in just 1 second. Hey man,
how are you?
How you doing? Alright, yeah.
Do you want hot coffee?
I'm good. I've got tons of tea.
Oh, I was going to say, I've got a stool in there.
No, you're a ledge. How you doing? Alright?
Yeah, good, yourself?
Yeah, good man. Good, a bit wet, but alright.
I was going to say, well, I was thinking, you don't want to stand. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you don't want standing up there in the cold.
Yeah.
I don't think the cold's
Never mind. Yeah, it has. It's clearing now. It should stop now. So the rain's nice one, man. Right, so this led to, don't forget, you know, tactics, they evolve, and for better words, they evolve in the darkness, shall we say it like that. So here's our Spitfire here, flying away. Now, if you were dogfighting with this Spitfire, look at it flying happily there through the clouds, beautiful. Now, where are you going to shoot at this Spitfire if you were in a dogfight? Where would you really shoot? I mean, be realistic. On the wings? Not really. In the middle? Yeah. You got a pilot in that cockpit, and then the engines right there. The thing is, you set your sights, okay? You set your sights. Look how our brain is now using those roundels at focusing. It's giving you a line of sight for your target in the middle. And the thing is, the human brain, it loves symmetry. It loves to be in the middle of symmetry. It really does. So the worrying thing, in and out of the clouds, you're using those roundels. And I know there's films and stuff, I get it, but trust me, these are flying extremely quick, right? They're fast. They're not going to be like, of course, if you are chasing it and behind it, it's going to be a different matter. But when they're flying really fast, did you see that? Did you see the roundels? Did you see that? No. Is that enemy, friend or foe? Do you know? Not sure. It's not going to go that slow, is it? And that's the thing about roundels, how important they are. But when you're finally caught up with it, whichever it is, the two roundels gave you a line of sight. Now, try looking at the middle of this aircraft, because now you're put off by the one roundel. Your eye is now fixed over here. Now, okay, it's only for a split second, okay? But that split second can be the difference between life and death. Getting shot down, getting not. And that's why the adoption of the one roundel system was put into place. And now you know the year this come out, because it's got a blue bar. Do you see that now? So now you know the answer for that one, which is amazing, isn't it? How good is that now, that when you look at aircraft of the, of the United States during the war, you can kind of tell now what time period it was out. So it's pretty obviously this, didn't obviously the type of aircraft, but some aircraft had about 1 million variants, so to speak. Also, in when you're engaged into combat, you want to make sure you drop your drop tanks. Novice, undertrained pilots, and that's the thing. What happened to the Luftwaffe during the latter stages of the Second World War, late 1944 to the early stages of 1945, the air superiority scales had changed. It was in favour largely of the Allies. And the thing is, the other thing that I haven't told you, unless you've been watching our Lost Airfield series, the fact that how important the operation argument known as Big Week on the early hours of the 20th, literally on the night of the 19th of February to the 25th of February 1944, the target was clockwork between the Royal Air Force bombing at night and the United States Army Air Forces by day to bomb the factories, the aircraft factories. Take care, man. Take care. The aircraft factories. Why? Because the Luftwaffe had a couple of thousand fighters by then, by February, and with the lineup, and the organisation for D-Day, it was really important to make sure that they had the upper hand for air superiority. How would you do that? Well, when you've got the Luftwaffe factories making aircraft about 1,000 a week, that is a bit of a problem. Think how many weeks there were from February to June for D-Day. Think how many they would have produced in that time. Thousands, and they would have done. And the plan was take out all the factories to stop and halt, and it worked. Every single mission had its purpose. Thank goodness me, it stopped raining. Whew. So there you go. That's a little bit of history for you. Well, while we're here, here's our first aircraft that operated here with the 20 operational training unit. Our Vickers Wellington bomber, 4,500 pound of payload, made in 16 different variants. They made 11,461 of these or so, and also a record breaker as well for the fastest assembled bomber and flown in just 24 hours. Amazing. They assembled one of these and flew it the next, literally into the night and into the morning. Well, it was in the morning, but they started off. Geodetic airframe, you can see a lovely example of that. Geodetic airframe designed by Sir Barnes Wallis. A bit like this chain link fence, this whole fuselage, this whole section, all of it was made in a geodetic style, so easy to repair in battle damage, and it could take some, and it was it was so reliable in my eyes. It was a twin engine, came out in the same specification of the Hamden as well. They were given the same Air Ministry specification. Both were accepted. So you had the Wellington dominating the skies here and started life at Mildenhall, and it had, right, are you ready for this? The markings were LN, I know, for 99 Squadron, and that was their markings, believe it or not. How cool. Feltwell, here, Mildenhall, the skies of Cambridgeshire, the skies of Suffolk, Ely, the Vickers and the Wellington was dominating the skies here. But just like in Lincolnshire, what was dominating then in 38 was indeed the Handley Page Hampden. So there we go. And then the fully first operational squadron that operated this here at Lakenheath was indeed 149 Squadron, until they switched to the short Stirling bomber. And interestingly, the engines on, for a lot of the that time period for the Hampdens and the Wellingtons started off with the Pegasus engines, and then of course they did switch to the more powerful, well, especially on the Wellington, they did decide to have Bristol Hercules. It's the same, different marks of course, but it's the same with the short Stirling as well, that they did change marks on the Bristol Hercules. I think it was like went up to Mark 16, I think it was, if I just off the top of my head. But you'll see that the Wellingtons first started off with Bristol Pegasus. Then they actually added on a Mark II. They did have and also the Lancasters, they had Bristol Hercules on a Mark II. You don't see many of those at all, but they kept some of those right up to the 50s by testing a type of jet engine on them, by the way. But the Vickers Wellingtons from Mark III onwards went up to the Bristol Hercules. The Bristol Hercules was an excellent engine, very powerful. So welcome to the show, ladies, gents and teddy bears. I hope you're well. Welcome to RAF Lakenheath. Recordesk, thank you very much for the super. Thank you very much. Guards March. Gary, high five and a Guards March to you. Thanks a lot for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Doug Ross, high five as well. Thank you as well for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Guards March there. Reese Maroney, thank you very much for the super. Oi oi Ted Nikos, wish that weather was here in West Australia. Oh bless, thank you very much. Also we got Yaroslav Kubecz, thank you very much. Bardzo dziękuję from Poland, thank you very much for your super. Guards March. Margot, thanks a lot for the super. Guards March. Also we got Yaroslav again for a super. A high five, man, thank you very much. And a paw pump, thank you so much for the generosity there. And another super from Yaroslav Kubecz, thank you very much. A Guards March. Batter Purple, Guards March, thanks for the super. Another super from Yaroslav, thank you very much. High five, paw pump, a salute. Thanks a lot to my Polish viewer there, Yaroslav, thank you very much. Guards March. And another super from Yaroslav, thank you very much. We'll do a fly past. Thanks a lot for that. Thank you. Bardzo dziękuję. Not Captain Weber, thank you very much for the super as well. A Guards March to you for a posh hot chocolate later too, right? I will. Reese Maroney, Guards March, thanks a lot for the super. Thanks heaps, Nikos and Ted, for what you do. Helps brighten my day, something to look forward to after work. Love the content. Thanks a lot, man. Guards March. Yaroslav, thank you very much again for the super. A Guards March to you. Yaroslav again for another super. Thank you very much. I'll have to go and get a fly pass ready there for Yaroslav. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Derek, thanks a lot for the super for tea and salmon. Guards March. Andrew Dickey, oi oi Ted, what's up? Warm mate. Oh bless. Thank you very much. A Guards March to you. Mike Weaver with 27 months membership. Fantastic. Thanks Ted and crew. Thank you very much. Paul M Hennings. Wow, 29 months membership. Far. Oi oi TCS family. Ted Coningsby, Nikos, Claire Barron, Spanner Flight, mods, emotional weather. Yeah, it's just cleared for a little bit for now. And Paul M Hennings, high five. Thanks for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Alan Q, thanks a lot for your super. You're a star, Nikos, in this weather. Thank you very much. Nick Knox with 33-month membership. Thank you very much. Wild Time Flies. Scorcher with 29 months membership. Neil Osborne with 36. Congratulations on your first year reaching that milestone. Tones Planes as well. Thank you very much for your super. Thanks a lot to Anthony Boulder. Guards March. Oh gosh, what's happened there? Something's gone weird with that. Okay, we'll just carry on. Ted, carry on. Carry on like nothing's happened. Neil Osborne, well done, man. Thank you, Ted Nicholson, History and Entertainment. Sharon Chapman with 16 months. 16 months with the greatest military aviation channel. Thank you, TCS. Thank you as well. Derek, high five. Thanks a lot, Derek AK5H. Thanks a lot for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Ginger Bailey, thanks a lot for the super. Guards March. Rod Hall, congratulations with 28 months membership. Keep up the great work, Nikos. Best channel on YouTube. Chris Baxter, thanks a lot for your 18 months. And Chris Baxter, high five there, thank you. Also, Chris Baxter, thanks a lot for your super. Guards March. Thanks for the super chat there. Babs Art, high five. Thanks for gifting a Ted Coningsby membership. Guards March to you. Joan Finnis, high five. Thanks for joining the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Also, One Life, love it. Nice one, welcome. High five, thanks for joining the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Gary, Salmon and Fleet Time, thank you very much. Guards March to you. It's the last stream of the month. Enjoy it. The Lundy Gruffalo, congratulations. 3 years membership, 3 years. I'm sure there were less than 10k subscribers back in those days. I think you're absolutely right. I think there was less than 10k. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were celebrating 8k out in the field. Yes, it was indeed 8k 3 years ago. This time 3 years ago. Wow. Tiff 2KS, morning all. A bit of support from Typhoon HQ to Ted, watching our US friends stay dry. Thank you very much. Guards March. Jake Jackson, member for 34 months. Wow, thanks man. Still here, love it. Thank you very much. Right, I think we've just got the 4 F-35s that are out, and that, I believe, is it. So I've got a choice whether to just finish up, go into the weekend, go and get warm. Lee James, happy 40th birthday to Amy Bevan today. Nice. Yeah, so I could see comments about the Coastal Command. Yes, so Coastal Command, in fact, it was actually the Royal Air Force who first used the B-17 in combat, and not the United States Army Air Force. They actually used them in combat, and they were called the Boeing Fortresses. That was the designation. And these aren't mine just yet. They're off one of my books that I obviously lovingly. This is a B-17 book that I took so the earlier Coastal Command and B-17s, the Boeing Fortresses, were the B for the Fortress 1. I think there was the Boeing Fortress 2, the C's and the E's. The thing that worried the United States Army and Boeing, of course, they felt that they weren't quite ready yet, because if you start looking at the E and the F and the G, look how advanced and protected they were, as in the Boeing Fortress, and look at it with the B-17 Fortress there, the fort as it was nicknamed was actually spectacular, but the earlier B and C's were used in the Royal Air Force. Now, the first ever engagement and taste of combat, and this is a true story by the way for those who don't know, the first ever sort of involvement of the US in combat was actually in 1941 during the attacks on Pearl Harbor. There was actually a delivery of B-17s during, and now unknown to them, and what could have been an absolute disaster, because when Pearl Harbor was attacked, these B-17s were on delivery and completely unarmed. There was no armament on them whatsoever. And while everything was under attack, the United States Navy were worried that these were attacking Air Forces aircraft, but they actually were not. And that was kind of like the first kind of, although you could look at it two ways, but it was its first time it ever seen combat was during that disaster, that attack, and it was during the Pearl Harbor attack. So very interesting to see that, but none of them were actually attacked from the Japanese. They actually made it safely on the ground without getting attacked, and what would have been a complete disaster, because these were unarmed. It was a delivery, and there was a lot of aircraft on the ground that were destroyed. So lest we forget. Dita, how you doing? Mark Moody as well. Margot, Donna the Cake and Cat, how you doing? I have just realised I've got the ICAO code completely wrong. That's for Mildenhall. I might as well leave it now. Sorry about that. Let me go and change that for good measure, and then we'll think about finishing up for the day. Yeah, it's still going. I don't know. There's 4 out, but they're the Norwegian F-35, so I don't know whether they're going out again. Cool. So yeah, what we'll do, we're going to finish up for the day. We're going to go and keep warm. And so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a few last Guards March. Just honour the Caker Cat. Thank you very much for the super. A Guards March to you. And also we got Heather Postlethwaite, high five and a Guards March. Thank you very much for gifting the Ted Coningsby membership. Also Craig Bruce, thanks for, oh wow, 3 years. Congratulations on your 3 years membership. Guards March to you. So a big shout out to everyone at the 48 Fighter Wing. Ted and I are probably going to just, yeah, we'll knock it off. And knock it off is a classic fighter pilot term for that's it, it's done, we've got to go, just I've had enough, that'll do, or just leave it, you know, kind of thing. Or yeah, it's pretty cool. It is used quite a lot. Knock it off, as in like leave it, let's go. Yeah, well, ladies, gents, teddy bears, it was still a pleasure to be here. I'm glad we came anyway. Goodness me, it was pretty bad today, I have to admit. It was pretty savage being in that, but I mean, visibility, had the visibility been better, I mean, we've had rain before and the visibility's been fine, but goodness me. Hey, listen, first of all, 48 Fighter Wing, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. See ya. And all our fans and members, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We managed to get, was it 4 streams out of the 5, but we did it in the end. So thank you very much for your support this week, and stay tuned in for a lot more Ted Coningsby. Don't forget, this weekend, so tomorrow, Sunday, a new t-shirt is coming out, available in blue and white, ready for air show season. And tickets, members, don't forget to get your tickets in for TAP party. It's your last chance until the 1st of Feb when it goes out, because members get priority. Have a look. If you're not sure, contact us on Discord for your membership to get your priority tickets, because 50% have already gone. So don't miss out on that, okay? So look out for that on Sunday. All right, ladies, gents, teddy bears, it's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you stay in the green. Any questions about aviation and history, drop a line. I will answer it live on the show, so that everyone, because not everyone knows everything, and some people are a bit shy to ask. So you can always contact us on tedconingsby.co.uk for the latest merch. That's on it on the wonk. Amazing. Hey, it's been brilliant and it's been good fun, and I've been with you. Right, listen, so my name's Nikos. I've been your cameraman, historian and commentator on this soggy day. This is Squadron Leader Ted Coningsby, and I hope you've enjoyed the Ted Coningsby channel this week. So take care, everyone, and for the last time for today, and for the week, and for the month, see you soon. Wish you well. Bless your hearts, everyone. See ya. Oh yeah, ladies, sheds and teddy bears, welcome to the Ted Coningsby channel membership. I'm Nikos, I'm your cameraman and commentator. This is our squadron leader, Ted Coningsby. Just want to say a massive thank you to all our members. Guns up, and oh yeah. Take it away, Ted. Ladies, sheds and teddy bears, we want to say a massive thank you to all of our subscribers for getting us to where we are today. We have gone all over the country, from as far as Lossiemouth to Bryce Norton, and military areas such as air weapons ranges, low flying areas, heritage centres and special flights for TED 2. We cannot do this without your support, and your support will be rewarded. You can now join the Ted Coningsby Squadron and help fund the channel to get us around the country and provide us with the funds for equipment to bring you better content too. We have 3 levels of membership to suit everyone. With your membership, you'll get access to members only videos, photos, posts, unlock special Ted Coningsby YouTube emojis and loyalty badges, as well as being able to access our exclusive members only Discord server. All membership levels reward you with discounts to our online store. Our top level Fighter Squadron was inspired by many of our fans who supported the channel massively. This is more of a personal experience with me and Ted, giving you exclusive live streams and content from behind the scenes photos, special info and updates, as well as a free Ted Coningsby Fighter Squadron patch for joining. Whichever membership level suits you, we want to say a massive thank you for choosing to join the Ted Coningsby Squadron. Ah, yeah.